There's a moment in your financial life that almost no one talks about. It doesn't show up on a chart, you won't see a notification for it, and most people don't even realize when they've crossed it. But it quietly changes everything about how you build wealth. It's the moment when saving more money suddenly stops making sense. Not because saving is bad, not because you're rich now, but because your money has grown so powerful that your effort barely moves the needle anymore. Most people spend their entire lives in save as much as possible mode without ever recognizing that the strategy that got them started isn't the same strategy that will carry them forward. And if you don't understand this tipping point, you'll keep pouring effort into something that no longer gives you meaningful results. Today, we're going to break down exactly when that shift happens, why it happens, and how you'll know you've crossed into the stage where compounding, not saving, becomes the real engine of your wealth. Before we dive in, go ahead and subscribe, because most people never learn this, and understanding it puts you years ahead financially. Let's begin. Section 1. The early stage. When every dollar truly matters. In the beginning, saving money feels powerful. Every $100 you put aside makes a visible difference. If your net worth is $5,000 or $10,000, a single contribution feels like progress you can actually measure. You skip a takeout meal, you cut a subscription, you set aside a little extra each month, and it moves the number. At this stage, you are the engine. Your effort, your discipline, and your consistency are doing almost all the work. Your investments might grow a little, but the growth is tiny. A few dollars here, a few dollars there. It's slow, it's boring, and honestly, it feels fragile. If you stop saving, everything stops. If you pause contributions, growth barely exists. This is where most people live their entire financial lives, working hard, saving hard, and believing that this is how wealth is built forever. But in reality, this stage is just the foundation. It's the heavy lifting phase, the uphill push where the grind matters the most. And the reason it feels so exhausting is because you're still the one responsible for almost all of your progress. But if you stay consistent long enough, something begins to shift. Section 2. The first shift. When your money starts helping you. After years of saving, a quiet change begins. One most people miss. Your contributions still matter, but for the first time, your money starts growing without you. Once you've built around $100,000, a 10% return adds about $10,000 in a year. Suddenly, your yearly contribution of $6,000 to $10,000 isn't the main driver anymore. The market is starting to add more than you are. This is the first real sign of momentum. Your portfolio grows even on weeks you don't contribute. Returns begin catching up to, and then passing, your deposits. Saving feels helpful, but not essential the way it once did. It's the early stage of compounding taking over, not fully, but enough that you can feel the shift. Section 3. The point where saving stops moving the needle. As your portfolio grows, your contributions become a smaller and smaller part of the total growth. At around $500,000, a 10% return creates roughly $50,000 in growth in a single year. If you're contributing $8,000 to $10,000 per year, that amount barely shows up. It's less than 1/5 of the growth your money is already generating. Then comes the real turning point. Once your investments reach $1 million, the same 10% return adds about $100,000 in a year. Your annual contribution becomes almost invisible compared to the growth happening automatically. This is where saving more doesn't meaningfully accelerate your progress. Your portfolio has its own engine now, and it's growing faster than you ever could by cutting expenses or clipping coupons. This is the moment when saving still helps, but it no longer matters the way it used to. Section 4. The wealth flywheel. When your money takes over. Once compounding becomes the main driver, your wealth enters what I call the flywheel stage, the part where your money generates more growth than your effort ever could. In the beginning, your progress feels slow and heavy. You grind, you save, you invest. Every $1,000 matters. Every decision feels important. But once your investments reach real scale, somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million, something shifts. Growth begins to feel automatic. You check your accounts and see increases that used to take you months of saving. Your money is finally working harder than you do. $10,000 of growth becomes 20, 20 becomes 50, 50 becomes 100. The numbers rise faster than you can mentally keep up with. And here's the key. You didn't suddenly get smarter. The market didn't suddenly change. You simply crossed into a stage where capital, not effort, is doing the heavy lifting. This is the phase wealthy people talk about when they say, make your money work for you. Because now, for the first time, it actually does. Section 5. The moment saving stops moving the needle. There's a point in your financial journey where your hard work still matters, but no longer changes the outcome in a meaningful way. It doesn't happen suddenly. It doesn't feel dramatic. In fact, most people don't even recognize it when they cross it. Here's how to tell you've reached it. When your yearly contributions are tiny compared to what your investments are already earning. If you're saving $8,000 a year, that amount is life-changing when your portfolio is small. But once your investments reach $500,000, a typical market return can generate $50,000 in growth. Automatically, your $8,000 didn't stop being helpful. It just stopped being important. At $1 million, it becomes even clearer. Your money can produce $100,000 of growth in a single year, more than many people earn from their job. Compared to that, your monthly deposits barely move the line on a chart. This is the tipping point where saving becomes less about building wealth and more about maintaining discipline. It doesn't mean you should stop investing, but it does mean your focus must shift from squeezing every dollar to making smart decisions with the wealth you already have. Because once your portfolio can out-earn your contributions, you're no longer pushing the snowball. You're simply guiding something that now rolls downhill on its own. Section 6. Why people keep saving long after they don't need to. You'd think that once someone reaches real financial security, whether that's $500,000, $1 million, or more, they would finally relax. But that's not how it works. Most people who build wealth do it through routine. Years of careful spending, disciplined saving, and saying no to things they don't need. And once those habits harden, they don't magically disappear. So even when their investments are producing $40,000, $60,000, or even $100,000 a year in growth, they still worry about small purchases, skip vacations, and cling to the same frugal mindset they had decades earlier. Not because they must, but because saving became part of who they are. Their money has reached freedom, but mentally they're still in the early struggle phase. And that's the irony. The habits that help them build wealth are often the same habits that make it hard for them to enjoy it. Section 7. The real sign you've hit the wealth tipping point. So how do you actually know you've crossed that invisible line? It's not a specific dollar amount, although it often happens somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million invested. The real sign is this. You stop stressing about every small financial decision. You're not debating whether to buy the cheaper coffee. You're not worried if your car needs a repair. You're not checking your bank balance every few days. There's a calmness that settles in, a quiet confidence, because you realize your portfolio can recover faster than you can save. Your money is finally strong enough to stand on its own. The turning point is emotional, not mathematical. It's that moment where you go from needing your next paycheck to simply receiving it. Once your investments generate more stability than your job does, you're no longer building wealth from fear, you're building it from strength. That's when saving stops feeling urgent, and managing what you've already built becomes your real superpower. So here's the truth most people never hear. The wealth tipping point isn't about a specific number. It's about a shift in power, a moment where your savings take a back seat and your investments take the wheel. In the early years, you're pushing the whole system forward. But one day, almost without warning, your money starts moving faster than you do. That's when wealth becomes self-sustaining. That's when saving stops being the main driver and building, protecting, and optimizing becomes the real game. If you're not there yet, don't get discouraged. The slow years are not wasted years. They're the foundation for everything that comes later. And if you are beginning to feel that shift, then you've entered a stage most people never reach. Either way, your future is shaped by what you do next. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. And drop a comment letting me know where you are on your journey, still pushing the boulder uphill, or finally starting to feel it roll on its own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.